Hello, this is Bob Minton. My call sign is NU7L. I'm going to talk a little bit about DroidStar and DudeStar, which are two programs written by Doug McLean, 88DP. I'm going to talk about what they are, what you will need to get them up and running, and how to configure an Android device and a Windows device to operate these. So first of all, what are they? Well, these programs allow you to connect to digital repeaters or reflectors through the internet without a hotspot. So they will work over a Wi-Fi connection or another internet-enabled cell phone or other device, such as a Windows PC. And the good thing about these is that these allow for an alternate way to communicate when other portable or mobile devices are not available. For example, if you're a ham operator and you don't have a digital enabled radio, you can get on digital systems with these. It's also a good backup way to get on digital systems should you have a device failure, such as your radio breaks down, you have a handheld radio that battery runs down. As long as you can get a cell phone signal that has internet access, you can get on DroidStar, or if you have a Windows PC that's internet accessible, you can get on DudeStar and still get on these systems. They support DMR, Fusion, DStar, and other digital modes such as P25. We'll get into that a little bit later. They will connect to DMR reflectors on either the Brandmeister and TGIF networks, plus some other DMR networks. Also access Fusion and DStar reflectors. They operate very similar on both Android and on Windows. They have a very simple push-to-talk interface, which uses the phone or computer microphone and speakers. And please note that these programs are still in development, so you may run into issues. I've had a few, but pretty minimal. But your mileage may vary on whatever device you're putting these on. So first of all, what do you need to have in place before you install and configure these programs? If you want to get on DMR, you're going to have a DMR ID number. If you don't already have one, probably the simplest place to get one is at radioid.net. There are other sites you can obtain one, but this is a very popular one. You can create an account on here, get yourself a DMR ID, which is basically a number to identify you on the DMR systems. It's a unique number that is tied to your call sign that, as I said, allows you to be identified on the DMR systems. You will also want to create an account on Brandmeister. It's at brandmeister.network, and this will allow you to access the repeaters and reflectors on their network, which are all DMR. You will also probably want to create an account on the TGIF DMR network, which is located at tgif.network. And they have a lot of talk groups on there for DMR, so it's a good idea to have an account on there as well. Because during the configuration, you can put in the information for both of these networks so you can access both of their systems. There's another website you're going to want to keep in mind. You will need this during the configuration. It is dudestar.gw8szl.co.uk. And you will need this. You can download DudeStar from here, which is the Windows version. And you will also need the DroidStar directory later on during the configuration. So we'll get into this during the configuration stage. This is the DroidStar directory. And once you have it up and running, there's a way you can verify that it's connecting to the Brandmeister and TGIF networks by going into either the Brandmeister website and clicking over here on the self-care once you're logged in, and that will bring up your devices or radios as they are shown on their system, and it'll be under here under the My Devices right down here. My ID is 3116024, and then my SSID or ESSID as it's called is either going to be 0105 or 06. Those are my unique radios or my unique hotspots or other DMR devices. You can do the same thing on the TGIF website. They also have a self-care on there, and you can see it here. Once you're configured and connected to their system and go to the self-care, you will see that it shows up under the self-care as being connected to their system. That's pretty much all you need as far as the system requirements to get on DMR. And now I will move on to how to configure it on an Android device, and I'll be using my cell phone as an example during the configuration stage. So what I'm going to do now is show you how to get DroidStar up and running on your Android device. The first thing you're going to have to do is go to the Google Play Store and do a search on DroidStar. And you can see it's early access, which means the software's under development, but we're going to go ahead and install it anyway. I've already got it installed on my phone, so I'm going to open it up. And this is what you're going to see when you first open up DroidStar. I'm going to run through the settings now. There's a couple of little tricks in here that you're going to have to know in order to get this up and running. So I'll run through those now. You want to go to the Settings tab. You're going to leave everything in the first four fields at the defaults. You're going to put your call sign in the call sign field, your DMR ID in the DMR ID field, and then very importantly, you need to have an ESS ID, which will be appended onto your DMR ID to identify this as a unique device on the system. If you have a Brandmeister account, you need to put your Brandmeister password in. If you have a TGIF account, you need to put your hotspot security key in, not your TGIF password. Your hotspot security key is generated when you sign up for TGIF on their website. You can put your latitude and longitude in, your location. You can put your URL to your QRZ page if you want to. I leave everything else pretty much blank. If you're going to use DudeStar, put your DudeStar call sign in. Don't worry about the IX secret. And then my call, your call. If you're familiar with DudeStar, you know what those are. So I'm not going to go into that here. And the next thing you need to do right away is hit the update hosts and update ID files here, and then click on OK, and here. Those are downloads of all the host files and ID files for all the digital networks. I have found it can take 10 to 15 minutes to download everything on a slow connection, so you'll have to be patient with that. But you do need to make sure that you select both of those. Everything else, I just leave at the defaults. The next thing you're going to need to do is go over to About. And you're going to have to look at the architecture line. On mine, it's an ARM64. You'll need to remember that because you're going to have to go back to settings and down to this field where it says vocoder URL. Then what you're going to have to do in order to get this up and running is put the appropriate vocoder file in so that this can actually activate and work without an external hotspot device. So in order to get the vocoder file, you will need to go to this website, which is dudestar.gw8szl.co.uk. You'll see a directory there called DroidStar, and you'll want to go into that directory, and you will see a listing of files for different platforms. In my case, I want the one for Android, which is an ARM and the ARM64. So what I'm going to do is not download that file. All I want to do is select that link, copy the link address, then go back to the settings and paste it into that field. I've already downloaded it on my phone, so I'm not going to re-download it, but if this was a brand new setup, I would hit the download vocoder, and that will install it in the DroidStar software on my phone and allow it to operate without an external device. Once that's downloaded, you can go back to the main, and then you can start selecting which digital mode you want to operate in and which hosts and talk groups that you want to use on DMR, or which reflectors you want to use on either YSF or DudeStar. For instance, I listen to the Skyhub Link network in Denver quite a bit, so I have a Brandmeister account, so I can just use the Brandmeister 3102 United States server, and their talk group ID is 310847. So I type that in there. I'll just show you again. It's already in there, but I'll just retype it. And then all I have to do is hit the connect. Now I'm connected to the Skyhub Link network in Denver. There's nobody on there talking right now, but this, if you have everything working correctly, set up correctly, this is what it'll look like. If I want to transmit, I push the TX button and then make my transmission, and then hit it again to stop transmitting. If I want to disconnect from that, I push the disconnect button. I can do the same thing by going over to Fusion, which is going to be YSF, and I can hook to the US Skyhub link there. Here's all the Fusion reflectors that I can choose from. These are downloaded in those host files and during the setup. I can go to any of these I want. Just as an example, I can go to US America link, which is very popular. All I need to do is select that and hit the connect. And now that's connected to the America link reflector using the YSF digital mode, which is Fusion. And I can disconnect from there. If I want to go back to Skyhub link or any of these other reflectors, I can simply select it from the list right there, connect or disconnect. I can also do the same thing with the XRF DudeStar. America, the Skyhub link is on XRF 031C. So you select your reflector channel there, you select your reflectors there. Again, it works exactly the same way. I can connect and disconnect. And that's pretty much all there is for the basic configuration and operation of DroidStar. And I will have some examples now of people actually using the system, so you can see how it works in live operation.
Okay, let's go to the second half of the alphabet. Suffixes November through Zulu. November through Zulu. Come now. Kilo Echo Zero Tango Papa Whiskey. Kilo Echo Zero Tango Papa Whiskey.
All right, folks, next up, let's go find out how the new ham is doing itself. I think I met you at a Reno Signet and maybe even the Mike and Keith picnic. You're going to have to remind me, but I remember meeting you. KK7IRT, good evening, Zach. How are you?
KK7IRT, this is Zach in North Seattle. Good evening. In this chat and getting acquainted more and more, so that's just awesome. I love it. So anyway, Kat, you have a good one, and we'll catch up with you later. 7-3 for now. W0KPH is KD08.
We'll get together for that coffee one of these days. This W0KPH, I am clear with KD0H and NC2WX a couple of minutes ago.
Okay, I'm going to do a short demo of DroidStar in actual use. I have my cell phone screen showing on my PC so you can see it easier. And I'm going to contact another ham operator who will be using an FT991A radio. And I'm going to be using my phone. We're going to connect through the Magic Valley Amateur Radio Club Fusion system. All I have to do is hit the connect button to connect to their system. now that I'm connected, I can just push the TX button and use that just like I was using a radio. KI7EZU, KI7EZU, this is NU7L.
NU7L, this is KI7EZU. Good evening.
Yeah, we're just doing a little short demo here of how DroidStar works so some other hams can see it in operation. How does it sound?
Yeah, you sound fantastic. I have no problem understanding or reading anything you're saying.
All right, well, that's pretty much all I needed, and I'll sign off with you, and we'll just go from there. You have a good evening, and we'll talk to you later. KI7EZU, this is NU7L Clear.
Very good. Have a good evening. KI7EZU, clear.
And then I can just hit the disconnect to disconnect from the system, and that's all there is to it. Now that we've gone through the configuration and operation on the Android telephone, I'll show you how to run DudeStar, which is the companion program on Windows. First of all, you will need to go to that website that I mentioned in the introduction, dudestar.gw8scl.co.uk, and download either the x86 or x64 version of DudeStar, depending on your hardware that you have that you're running it on, and you will simply download that. You can either run it directly out of your download directory or copy it over to its own directory on your hard drive. And in my case, I just created a directory off my C drive called DudeStar, copied it over there, and then we'll run it out of there. Mine's already configured, so I'll just go ahead and run it. And as you can see, it looks very similar to the phone version. And I already have this set up to hook into the Denver system on Fusion. All I have to do is hit the connect button, and it should hook up to their system.
Best chances are pretty simple with this Wednesday night system. Is over the northern mountains of Colorado. Overall, everything looks to be light. There may be a system impacting us also around Tuesday. And folks, you can also run Vantage Sky out to Tuesday on precip and see that thing sitting over us. Reset.
There was somebody running a net on there. As you can see, you can play with the volume and mic gain and codec gain to get the audio levels that you want. I'll just show you the settings real quick. Very similar to the Android version. The one thing about this is you do not need to download a vocoder, so it's actually makes it easier. But as you can see, you can go through all the same settings as on the Android one. Just leave the vocoder on software vocoder, it'll work fine. And put your call sign in, your DMR ID, your passwords, longitude and latitude if you want to, and all the other miscellaneous settings. And that's pretty much it. But as you can see, it works very well under Windows. You just use the TX button down at the bottom to talk with. You can just click on that with your mouse, and your microphone on your computer as the microphone. I'll reconnect up back to SkyHub Link.
then are going to drift south of the I-70 corridor Wednesday evening, and some showers may linger along the Continental Divide.
And then I'll disconnect from them. And as you can see, I can either stay on Fusion, go to one of the DMR reflectors, P25, the DudeStar XRF reflectors, and I can probably get back on their system on XRF 031C. Just hit connect again, and
All right, on Friday and Saturday, temperatures should be at or above seasonal normals. And then that next system begins to dig into the Great Basin by Monday.
and as you can see, that hooked back into that same network, that SkyHub link system in Denver. That time it was on DudeStar. So that's pretty much it as far as DroidStar and DudeStar. And I can take any questions. You can email me at nu7l.idaho@gmail.com, or get a hold of me on the air somewhere. Thanks for watching.